Hello and welcome to my new Circle Line Art School video, how to draw a room in 2-point perspective. For this drawing we need to start with a horizontal line that goes through a rectangle. The room we draw will fill the rectangle. The second step is to draw 2 dots on this horizontal line which are outside the rectangle, and they can be anywhere on the horizontal line, one on the left hand side and one on the right hand side. These 2 dots are the vanishing points. The third step in this drawing is to draw 2 diagonal lines from the vanishing point on the left that go to the vertical line of the rectangle on the right. These will be the top and bottom of the wall of the room on the right, and they need to go to the vanishing point so that the perspective of 2-point perspective will work. The fourth step in this drawing is to draw a vertical line somewhere in the center of your page that goes between the 2 diagonal lines that we've just drawn. This will be the corner of the room. The fifth step of this drawing is to draw 2 more diagonal lines, this time from the vanishing point on the right, and they need to touch the top and bottom of the vertical line that we've just drawn, and they also need to stop on the left hand vertical line of the rectangle. These 2 lines will be useful because they will be the left hand side of the room, the left hand wall of the room that we're drawing. Now hopefully if you look carefully at the drawing that you're making, you will see that there are 2 walls, one on the left and one on the right, within the rectangle, but they followed the rule of going to the vanishing points. So now we can create some furniture or work surfaces. This is going to be a kitchen, so we just can do some 3-dimensional blocks, and with each of these 3-dimensional blocks, which are going to be work surfaces and things like that in the kitchen, the vertical lines need to stay vertical, and the parallel lines which are going away from us will either go to the left vanishing point or to the right vanishing point. This is because all of the objects in this room are going to be at right angles to each other. It just makes it easier to do it that way. All the upright lines are going to be parallel to the vertical upright lines of the rectangle, and then all of the diagonal lines, all of them, will go either to the left vanishing point or to the right vanishing point. Now with this drawing, like any other, it's always best to do the basic shapes first. Once you've got the basic shapes put in, then you can start to think about details later on. The placing of these objects is quite important, but I can move a line to the left or right to create the cube exactly where I want it, so that it's overlapping maybe a cube or a door frame behind it. And that overlapping quality, just by where I place the objects, will also help make the image look more 3-dimensional, because you have some objects which are clearly behind other objects, and that will mean the objects in the foreground will come forward more, and the objects in the background will recede and go back more in your drawing. Once you've got to a certain stage, we'll focus on the center of the rectangle, and you can just use an eraser and rub out the guidelines which go to the vanishing points. And now we've got a drawing with clearer lines, we can add some more details to it. So on the area on the left, I'll make a tall sort of cabinet area, and again the vertical lines stay vertical, and just choosing how high I want that to go, maybe to the top of the ceiling. I think I'll make it go a little bit lower. And just speeding the video along here a little bit, I will put in maybe a window here, and that can be tucked behind the cabinet thing that I've just drawn, and I'll put something else here in the corner as well, but maybe I'll go back to the window and just add a little bit more details to the window so we get some sort of thickness to the window frame, and that will start to give us some more scale so we can judge how big and small things are. And again, to the door, to put a frame around the door will enable the drawing to be easily read in proportions. Just straightening some of these lines a little bit, making them darker, and we can start putting on maybe some doors, so just dividing some of the shapes up so that there are cabinets and doors. Maybe around the edge of the work surfaces, I could just do a line underneath the line that we've already got. So that's just sort of copying a mark that you've already drawn, which is always quite satisfying to do, I think. And that will give some unity to these shapes in this kitchen. And then from this stage, if we just pull back and see how it relates to the vanishing points, you can see that it's still following the rules of the diagonal lines going to the left or the right vanishing point, and all the vertical lines staying upright. So on the right here, I'll draw a sort of cooker, and maybe an extractor fan or something like that above the cooker. And again, working out the base of that, which is higher than the horizon line, so we're looking up to it. And it's following the rules of 2-point perspective, which is that everything's got to go to one of these 2 points. Oftentimes people are confused about where the 2 points in the perspective drawing can go. As long as they're on the horizon and far apart, it really will make a difference to what the drawing looks like, but it will always work as long as they're on the horizon and far apart. So here I'll put a little cabinet in the corner of the room, and that hasn't got much perspective because it's very near the horizon line, and therefore the diagonal parallel lines are almost parallel to the horizon line, but they're not quite. They sort of taper a little bit to the left, and they also taper a little bit to the right, whereas the things in the foreground will taper a bit more. Now I think on this thing in the foreground, if I draw 2 lines going up from the centre of it, and then work out where they would stop if they're on the ceiling, they could be 2 lights which are hanging down. So I'm really doing guidelines to help me find out where they go, and then once I have chosen where I want to put them, I'll draw 2 ellipses, which are just circles on there seen from the side, and make them into 2 lights, and then darken the line above so that they're hanging from the ceiling. So to do that, I found out where they would relate to the surface below first. So here I'll probably put a few details, maybe a bowl of fruit I could put in the foreground, or an apple, or something simple like that, and maybe another one here, and maybe a little mug or cup, something like that. Obviously you could put anything you want. When you get to this stage of a drawing, you can just add smaller and smaller things. So for this drawing I put lots of cabinets and some tiles in the background and things like that. And then through the door I've put another room, and I've put a landscape through the window and added a few more details, and then I went over all the lines using a black felt tip pen. So the next stage is I'll add some colour, and for this I'm just using some simple colour pencils, and I'll start with some soft green in the background, and then jump forwards and speed up the video a little bit and add some yellow and some red, and then add a few shadows, thinking about where the light source is, so that the light is coming from 1 or maybe 2 directions, and then it will create the shadows where you need it to be. And then just pushing it forward a little bit and working on the tones, but keeping it so it's still a line drawing, but it has colour and tonal values to it as well. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you find it useful for your own drawings. There are many more of my how to draw videos on my YouTube channel, Circle Line Art School. So please subscribe to Circle Line Art School for many more of my videos on how to draw, including how to draw perspective, how to draw faces, how to draw all sorts of things. There are over 170 videos I think now. I post a new video every Saturday. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time. Bye bye.